Hey, how's it going? This is Benji from SavorMyLife.com, and today we're talking about ordering wine from a wine list when you're at a restaurant, which is a different experience than just going to the store and getting a bottle of wine. There's more involved, and for some people, there's more pressure in doing it. So let's talk about it because it shouldn't be that difficult or intimidating of an experience. So, why learn about wine? Well, first of all, it's a type of food. You consume it and you should be enjoying it. It shouldn't just be something to have or something to get drunk off of. It can be a good way to impress people. It tastes good, especially when you pair it with the right foods. You pair the right wine with the right foods, and that's not something we'll get into too much today, but we will be covering that in other lessons on SavorMyLife.com. And really, if you have any fear or any sense of confusion or uncertainty around it, it's not that hard to really get started with the basics. So let's do that. There are three colors when it comes to wine. There are red wines that are made from red grapes, white wines that are made from white or green grapes, and then there are blush or rosé wines that are made from red grapes that have been processed a little differently than those from red wines. So red wines tend to be heavier or stronger, more body than white wines. White wines are, of course, lighter, and blush or rosé wines are sweeter, tend to be sweeter than red or white wines. And when anything we're talking about when it comes to wines, there are always exceptions, but these are some general rules. So what are varietals? Varietals are, we'll get into that into a second. Wines typically get their name from the primary grape that the winemaker is using in the production of it. So if you have a Merlot grape, you have a Merlot wine. The grape also, like we just talked about, talks about its varietal. Varietals are the names of wines that you're already familiar with, stuff like Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon and Pinot Grigio, all of them. So let's talk about different varietals and the scale of sweetness to dryness when it comes to white wines. We'll start with white wines. Sweet white wines include something like a Riesling or a Pinot Grigio. So if you're just getting started in wine and you tend to like something that's a little bit sweeter when it comes to food, start with that. Start with a light Riesling or a Pinot. There are different types. There's a Pinot Gris and that sort of thing. But if you go order a Riesling, it'll be pretty sweet as a general rule. A middle of the road couple of them are Sauvignon Blanc or Chenin Blanc, and then a dry white wine tends to be a Chardonnay. If you order a Chardonnay, it's going to have the characteristics of being a little bit lighter in body than a red wine, but a Chardonnay is still going to be a lot bolder and not as sweet. It's going to feel drier in your mouth and on your palate, on your tongue. When it comes to red wines, you have a Pinot Noir as really sweet. Then you have Merlots and Shiraz as a middle of the road. Shiraz tends to be a little more peppery too, so keep that in mind. But a dry, big, bold red wine is a Cabernet Sauvignon. So learn some of the basics, learn these basic varietals, but don't be afraid to ask your waiter for a recommendation, no matter where you are. That's why they're there. If you tell them I usually go for a sweet red or a dry white wine, whatever it is, you can ask, what do you recommend? So a little bit about protocol. The way it happens is they bring the bottle to you and they present it to you. They hold it up and they want to make sure that you're ordering, this is the one they brought, that's the one you ordered. You can just tell them, hey, looks great. So finally, the person who orders the wine gets the first taste. They'll open it up, pour a little bit in your glass, dig it. If you like it, let them know. Try it, let them know this works. If it's really terrible and you think there's something wrong with it, don't be afraid to say that there's something wrong with this. But if it's not exactly what you wanted, don't be afraid to just try something new. And it may not agree with you at first, but when it's had a chance to breathe, you may like it a lot. It may be one of your new favorites. So, once again, this is Benji from SavorMyLife.com, and thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.